Mira pressed her hands against the viewport of the shuttle, her eyes wide with wonder. Below them stretched the rolling plains of Nova Haven, dotted with sleek silver domes and glowing blue energy fields. It was unlike anything she had ever seen on Earth. Even after the long journey through space, the sight filled her with excitement. "Wow," her younger brother Tariq whispered beside her. "It's beautiful," their parents smiled. Moving to Nova Haven had been their dream for years. A planet where humans could start fresh, explore new technology, and build their lives without the crowded chaos of Earth. Yet now, seeing the settlement up close, Mira felt a flicker of unease. Something about the perfect alignment of the homes and the buzzing surveillance drones overhead seemed strict. The shuttle touched down smoothly on a landing pad beside their new home. The family stepped out, greeted by the soft hum of hovering drones and the faint scent of synthetic flowers designed to thrive in Nova Haven's thin atmosphere. Mira's parents carried small crates of supplies, while Mira and Tariq grabbed their personal bags. Their house was modest but elegant, a smooth dome of gleaming white material with soft blue lights glowing along the edges. The interior was simple and welcoming, with a living space that merged seamlessly into a small garden under a transparent dome. Mira ran her fingers over the walls, marveling at how the materials seemed to respond to touch, glowing softly where she pressed. "This will be perfect," their mother said, smiling at Mira and Tariq. "We have space to grow, explore, and learn. Nova Haven is a new beginning for all of us." But before anyone could unpack, a tall woman with short hair and a sharp gaze approached from the neighboring home. She wore a neat uniform with the insignia of the Harmony Overseers Association, or HOA. Her expression was crisp, professional, but there was a sharpness in her eyes that made Mira step back slightly. "Hello," the woman said, her voice firm. "I'm Karen. I manage this neighborhood's HOA. Welcome to Nova Haven. I see you're new here." Mira's father stepped forward, offering a polite smile. "Thank you. We're excited to settle in. We just arrived today." Karen's eyes flicked over the family, assessing them. "I'm sure. I also assume you're ready to join the HOA. Membership ensures that everyone follows the neighborhood guidelines, keeps property standards, and participates in community activities." Mira exchanged a glance with Tariq. They had read about HOA policies in their orientation materials, but the way Karen spoke felt commanding. "We appreciate the offer," their father said carefully, "but we would like to observe the community first and make our own decision." Karen's eyes narrowed slightly. "Observing is fine, but membership is not optional. Rules are rules. You will be expected to comply." Mira's mother stepped forward. "We respect the rules of the settlement, but we also value some personal freedom. We'll follow the planetary laws and local regulations. That should be sufficient, correct?" Karen's lips pressed together. "We will see. Enjoy your home." Without another word, she turned and walked back to her house, leaving the family standing in the garden. Mira felt a knot of tension in her stomach. "She seemed intense," she whispered. Tariq nodded. "Yeah, like she's always watching everyone." "I don't like it." Their father placed a reassuring hand on Tariq's shoulder. "It's normal to feel that way in a new place. Let's settle in first. We'll get to know the community on our terms." Over the next few days, Mira and Tariq explored the neighborhood. Drones hovered above homes, scanning for energy usage, environmental standards, and community participation. Most neighbors were polite but quiet, avoiding eye contact and conversation. Mira noticed that every house had identical gardens, carefully arranged furniture, and matching energy panels on the roofs. Any deviation was immediately corrected by small automated bots that patrolled the streets. One morning, Mira was arranging her small garden with some native Nova Haven plants when she saw Karen standing at the edge of the property. She was watching Mira closely, hands folded behind her back. "Good morning, Mira," Karen said, her voice cheerful but calculating. "Your garden. Interesting choice. Are you sure it meets community standards?" Mira smiled politely. "Yes, I checked the regulations. These plants are allowed, and I made sure the energy output stays within limits." Karen's smile tightened. "We wouldn't want any oversights. You know, neighbors often make mistakes without realizing it. The HOA ensures everything stays in order." Mira's cheeks warmed slightly. "We'll be careful." "Thank you." Karen nodded, then turned sharply and walked away. Mira felt her stomach twist. Every encounter with Karen seemed designed to unsettle them, to make them feel out of place. That evening, Mira sat in the living room, tapping on her small tablet. "Tariq, do you think she's spying on us?" Tariq shrugged. "Maybe, but we're not breaking any rules. She can watch all she wants. It won't change anything." Mira nodded, but worry lingered. The neighborhood felt like a carefully controlled machine, and they were outsiders trying to fit into it. Suddenly, their father's voice called from the kitchen. "Family meeting, now." The four of them gathered at the table. Their father opened a secure channel on his tablet and displayed a map of the neighborhood, highlighting all active drones and HOA installations. "We need to be careful," he said. "Karen and the HOA are more controlling than we expected. They have authority over minor details, but the planetary laws protect us. As long as we follow the settlement regulations, we're safe. But we should be strategic. Avoid confrontations, gather information, and show respect without giving in to unnecessary control." Mira nodded. "So, observe but don't argue." "Exactly," her mother said. "We can build trust with our neighbors by being fair, helpful, and consistent. That will show Karen that we are responsible and not a threat." The next morning, Mira decided to explore further. She and Tariq rode their small hoverboards through the winding streets. The neighbors watched quietly from their gardens, some nodding politely but most keeping their distance. Mira noticed a small park at the center of the neighborhood with a sparkling water fountain and benches that seemed to glow softly under Nova Haven's twin suns. Children played there under the watchful eyes of hovering security drones, laughter mixing with the hum of machinery. "This place is weirdly perfect," Tariq said. "It feels like everyone is waiting for something to happen." "Maybe it's because they are," Mira replied. She looked toward Karen's house, where a small drone hovered near a window. "And I think someone is always watching." As they returned home, a small notification popped up on Mira's tablet. "Warning, unauthorized behavior observed. Please comply with HOA standards." Mira frowned. They hadn't done anything wrong. She quickly scanned the notice and saw that it was a generic warning triggered by her garden placement, an overly sensitive sensor. Mira sighed. Karen had already started controlling their every move, even indirectly. Tariq noticed her frown. "Don't let it get to you. It's just a drone. It can't really hurt us." "Maybe," Mira said quietly, but her mind raced. How far would Karen go to enforce her rules? How strict was this HOA? That night, Mira lay awake in her room, staring at the ceiling. Nova Haven was a beautiful world, full of possibility and adventure. But even in this shining new settlement, humans had to deal with control, rules, and someone trying to dominate others. Mira promised herself that she and her family would stay smart, fair, and clever. They would adapt, survive, and thrive. No drone, no HOA, and no overbearing neighbor would take that away. The next day, the real challenge would begin, and Mira had a feeling Karen would make it interesting. The morning sun of Nova Haven spilled gold and blue across Mira's garden dome. The air shimmered slightly, a sign that the planet's atmosphere was settling into its daily cycle. Mira carefully watered her plants, her fingers brushing the soft leaves of the Nova Flora she had chosen. Tariq was nearby, adjusting the hoverboard's energy core, making sure it wouldn't overheat on their daily explorations. Their quiet morning, however, would not last. From the corner of her eye, Mira noticed a small hovering drone hovering closer to her garden. Its sensors blinked red for a moment, and she immediately recognized the symbol stamped on its side, the HOA insignia. "That's new," Tariq said, frowning. "I don't think that drone was here yesterday." Mira didn't reply. She knew exactly who had sent it. Karen. A moment later, Karen herself appeared at the edge of their property, clipboard in hand. Her sharp eyes scanned the garden, stopping at each plant and energy panel as if memorizing every detail. "Good morning, Mira," Karen said, her voice polite but laced with an unmistakable edge. "Your garden is a creative, but the sensor readings show that one of your energy panels is slightly misaligned. That could affect the neighborhood's energy grid." Mira's eyebrows knit. "I double-checked the panels. They are fully operational and within the permitted limits." Karen's lips pressed together, but she didn't back down. "Rules are rules. Even minor deviations must be corrected immediately. Harmony in the neighborhood depends on it." Tariq stepped forward, his arms crossed. "We aren't breaking any planetary laws. The panels work perfectly. If there's no danger or violation of the settlement rules, why does it matter?" Karen smiled tightly. "Because the HOA cares for everyone's safety and order. Your family will understand that soon. Mira noticed the drone zoom slightly closer, recording everything. The intrusion felt deliberate, a way of asserting control. Later that day, Mira's father received a message from the settlement security. They had received a report of a potential non-compliance issue at their property. Mira's mother quickly read it aloud. It says the HOA reported irregular energy usage and garden violations, she said. But we haven't done anything illegal or unsafe. Mira's father nodded. This is typical intimidation. Karen wants to make us uncomfortable, so we'll join the HOA without question. But we know better. We follow the planetary laws. That's all that matters, Mira frowned. But what if she keeps calling the authorities? What if they take it seriously? Her mother placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we stay calm, Mira. Document everything, show that we are responsible, and wait for the truth to come out. Karen's power is only as strong as her lies. By mid-afternoon, Karen's surveillance became more direct. A small hover drone hovered inside their garden dome, its red scanning lights sweeping across Mira's plants. Mira swatted it away with a gentle flick of her hand, but the drone quickly repositioned itself. Enough, Tariq said firmly, stepping in front of Mira. We aren't breaking any rules. You don't need to watch us every moment. Karen appeared almost instantly, as if materializing from nowhere. Observation is part of my duty. I ensure that every neighbor complies with standards. Consider it. Guidance. Mira's father walked over. Guidance is one thing. Harassment is another. We are following settlement rules perfectly. That should be enough. Karen's eyes narrowed. The HOA ensures harmony. Minor deviations can escalate if left unchecked. Consider this a warning, Tariq muttered under his breath. It feels more like a threat, Karen's voice carried. It is not a threat. It is responsibility, and if needed, I will call the authorities again. With that, she turned sharply and left, leaving the drone hovering in the air for a few more seconds before it zipped back to her property. That evening, Mira sat in the small living room with Tariq and her parents, replaying the day's events on her tablet. Her influence is strong, Mira said, scrolling through the drone recordings. She knows everything we do, and she can make anyone listen to her. Her father shook his head. Influence built on fear is temporary. Karen is clever, but she depends on deception and exaggeration. That's why we document everything. Drones, reports, warnings, they are all evidence of her actions, not ours. Tariq frowned. But what if she escalates further? I saw the warning from security. They seemed ready to take her side. Mira's mother spoke gently. We stay calm. We don't retaliate with anger. We act with intelligence and patience. Humans have thrived because we adapt, reason, and solve problems. We can use that now. Mira nodded, her mind already racing. If Karen was determined to control them, they would need to be clever. They would gather proof, show the authorities the truth, and protect themselves without breaking any rules. The next day, Mira decided to investigate further. Using a small portable scanner, she walked to the perimeter of their property, capturing data about the drones and their activity. She noticed patterns in the timing, paths, and the way they hovered near specific points like energy panels and garden beds. Tariq, look at this, she said, showing him the readings. She's monitoring us constantly, but she's predictable. If we understand her patterns, we can stay ahead. Tariq leaned closer. Do you think she's trying to scare us into joining the HOA? Exactly, Mira said. She can't force us if we follow the rules, but she thinks she can intimidate us. Together, they compiled a list of every drone flight, Karen's appearances, and any warnings sent to their tablet. They turned the data into a small map of the neighborhood, noting the locations where Karen seemed most active. That night, Mira's family discussed their next steps. We can't confront her directly, Mira's father said. That would only give her an excuse to escalate. Instead, we act with transparency. We document everything, report any false claims to the authorities, and stay within the rules. Mira's mother nodded. And we remain kind to our neighbors. If Karen is trying to isolate us, the best way to counter that is to build trust and cooperation with others. Mira and Tariq exchanged a glance. They were ready for the challenge. Karen might be persistent, but the family had intelligence, patience, and a sense of fairness. They could navigate this controlled world and still live freely. Over the next few days, Karen's escalation continued. She reported minor infractions to settlement security, each time claiming potential risk or non-compliance. Security officers visited the house, checked energy readings, and verified gardens. Each time, Mira's family calmly explained the situation and showed that they were following the rules perfectly. The officers left, slightly confused but polite. Karen's frustration began to show. One morning, she approached Mira directly. "I expect full cooperation," she said firmly. "Your family cannot remain outside the HOA forever. Compliance is inevitable." Mira smiled politely. "We appreciate your guidance, Karen. We follow settlement rules carefully and ensure our home is safe and efficient." "That is what matters." Karen's eyes narrowed. She looked as if she wanted to argue, but Mira noticed something in her expression, a hint of doubt. Mira had realized something important. Karen's power depended on fear and control, not truth. Tariq whispered to Mira later, "She can't stop us if we're smart." Mira nodded. "Yes, and we'll prove it, not with anger, but with cleverness and patience." As the sun set over Nova Haven, the family stood together on their balcony, watching the neighborhood glow under the twin suns. They knew challenges lay ahead, but Mira felt a surge of confidence. Humans had survived countless trials on Earth. On Nova Haven, they would thrive again. Intelligence, fairness, and courage would guide them, and no drone, no HOA, and no overbearing neighbor could take that away. Mira sat at her small desk, the soft hum of Nova Haven's energy system filling the room. The twin suns had dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in shades of violet and gold. She tapped her fingers on the tablet, reviewing the data she and Tariq had collected over the past week. Drone flight paths, HOA warnings, minor reports, and Karen's frequent appearances, they were all carefully logged. "Look at this," Mira said, pointing at a pattern on the map. "Karen isn't just watching us. She's watching every house on the street, but she only reports when she thinks someone isn't obeying her exact rules. She's controlling more than she should." Tariq leaned over her shoulder. "It's like she's playing God. She wants everyone to follow her rules perfectly, even if the rules don't matter." Mira nodded. "Exactly. And I think she's hiding something. Why else would she be so obsessed with minor details?" The siblings decided to investigate further. Mira and Tariq borrowed a small portable scanner from their garage lab, a device capable of monitoring energy flows and network signals without triggering alerts. They wanted to see if Karen was hiding her own irregularities. Tariq pointed at a reading. "Mira, look. Her energy panels are over the allowed limit, and her garden bot is creating extra power surges. That's a violation, isn't it?" Mira's eyes widened. "Yes, and if the HOA rules are about fairness and safety, she's breaking them. But she hasn't reported herself, only us. They shared the data with their parents that evening. Mira's father studied it carefully. This confirms what we suspected. Karen's authority is built on deception. She enforces rules selectively to control neighbors, not to ensure safety." Mira's mother added, "That gives us an advantage. If we document her actions and show the oversight authorities, we can prevent further harassment. Humans thrive because we recognize unfairness and act wisely. This is our chance." The next morning, Mira and Tariq set out to gather more evidence. They took careful note of Karen's routines. She appeared at precise times, checking drone activity, scanning gardens, and making notes on her tablet. But Mira noticed something odd. Karen seemed nervous when the authorities were near, often hiding or adjusting her systems before security officers arrived. "See that?" Mira whispered to Tariq as they hid behind a low-energy wall. "She fixes her panels right before inspection. She knows they're over the limit." Tariq grinned. "That's our opening. If we can record this without her noticing, it'll prove she's dishonest. Then she won't have power over anyone." Mira nodded. "We need to be careful. Karen is clever and she'll try to hide any evidence. We'll only use technology she cannot detect." They used a tiny observation drone of their own, small enough to slip past Karen's scanners. It hovered above her garden, recording panel adjustments, hidden energy surges, and small bots that corrected any minor deviation she had complained about in other neighbors' homes. Mira carefully encrypted the data, ensuring it could be presented to authorities at the right time. That evening, Karen came to their property again. Her expression was sharper than usual, and Mira noticed she was carrying extra devices, possibly to detect intrusions or unauthorized surveillance. "Good evening, Mira," Karen said, her tone polite but cold. "I noticed some unusual readings from your garden earlier. Are you sure everything is compliant?" Mira smiled calmly. Yes, Karen. We follow the rules carefully. Everything is safe and within limits. Karen's eyes narrowed. I will be watching. Harmony must be maintained. After she left, Tariq whispered, She's getting desperate. I think she knows we're observing her. Mira nodded. And that means our strategy is working. Karen's power depends on fear. The more anxious she becomes, the more mistakes she'll make. Over the next few days, Mira's family observed other neighbors as well. Many quietly followed Karen's rules, afraid to speak up. But a few were skeptical, noticing the unfairness in her actions. Mira decided to approach a neighbor, an elderly man named Rohan, who had lived in the neighborhood for years. Mr. Rohan, Mira said one afternoon, have you noticed anything unusual about Karen's behavior? Rohan looked around carefully, then nodded. Yes, child. She's clever, but she misuses her power. She punishes small mistakes she reports, but ignores her own. Most neighbors are too afraid to speak. But it has been going on for years. Mira smiled gently. Thank you, Mr. Rohan. We are collecting evidence. If we show it to the settlement authorities, it could change things for everyone. Rohan's eyes twinkled. Humans who stand for fairness often make the biggest difference. Be careful, though. Karen is persistent. The family decided to act methodically. They compiled all drone logs, HOA warnings, and Karen's violations. Mira even discovered some of Karen's financial mismanagement hidden in the HOA system. She had been collecting excessive fees, misreporting community contributions, and covering her own mistakes with minor reports against neighbors. This is bigger than I thought, Mira said, reviewing the records with her parents. Her influence isn't just annoying, it's dishonest and illegal under settlement regulations. Her father nodded. Humans thrive because we act with integrity. We follow the truth and use evidence wisely. This is the perfect opportunity to show that intelligence and fairness outweigh intimidation. Mira felt a sense of purpose. Then we will do it. Not to hurt her personally, but to protect the community. We'll make sure everyone understands the truth. One evening, Mira stayed up late, cross-checking every log with settlement rules. She discovered that Karen's false reports to security had already caused minor investigations, wasting resources and creating unnecessary tension. If presented to the authorities, it would clearly show that Karen was abusing her power. Tariq leaned over her shoulder. You think they'll believe us? Mira smiled. They will because we have proof. Karen has relied on deception and intimidation, but humans value evidence and fairness above all. That's why she's vulnerable. Her mother joined them. Remember, Mira, the goal isn't revenge. It's justice and protection. That's what humans do best. Face challenges, gather knowledge, and act wisely. We are doing exactly that. Mira nodded, feeling a renewed sense of confidence. Nova Haven was not just a place to live. It was a place where cleverness, patience, and moral courage could overcome tyranny. The next day, Mira and Tariq shared their findings with Rohan. He agreed to help them present the evidence to the settlement's oversight authority, the equivalent of the future IRS for colony management. Karen's repeated mismanagement, false reports, and selective enforcement were all documented. You are brave, Rohan said quietly. Most people would be too scared. But humans have always solved problems with intelligence and courage. You remind me of that, Mira smiled. We're just trying to protect everyone. Karen may have power now, but it depends on lies. Once the truth is known, she won't be able to control the neighborhood anymore. Tariq added, and maybe she'll learn something about fairness too. Rohan chuckled softly. Perhaps. Or perhaps she'll be more careful next time. Either way, the community will be better off. As the sun set, Mira stood on the balcony, looking over the neighborhood. The lights of the homes reflected in the soft energy fields, and small drones hummed quietly in the distance. Everything looked calm and perfect, but Mira knew that beneath the surface, change was coming. Karen's authority was based on deception, and Mira's family had uncovered it. With intelligence, patience, and careful planning, they had turned the situation to their advantage. Nova Haven was a world of opportunity, and humans had the ability to thrive even under challenges. Mira felt a spark of hope. The next steps would be crucial, exposing the truth, protecting the neighborhood, and ensuring that fairness prevailed. But she knew one thing. Humans could always overcome control with cleverness, courage, and determination. And that's exactly what her family planned to do. The night sky of Nova Haven stretched endlessly above them, filled with stars and possibility. Mira smiled. For the first time since arriving, she felt truly at home. The sun rose over Nova Haven, casting soft gold light across the smooth domes of the neighborhood. Mira and Tariq were already outside, checking their garden and reviewing the data they had collected on Karen. The previous days had been tense, but now they felt ready. They had gathered enough evidence to show the settlement authorities that Karen was misusing her power. "Look at this," Mira said, pointing to a tablet filled with logs. "These drone paths, her false reports, even her financial irregularities, they all line up. If we present this to the oversight authority, they can't ignore it." Tariq nodded. "We just have to be careful. Karen is smart. If she notices what we're doing, she'll try to hide it." Their mother joined them, smiling. "Humans have always thrived by being clever and careful. We are doing exactly what we should. The truth is on our side." Later that morning, Karen appeared at the edge of their property, her eyes sharp and calculating. She held her clipboard and tapped a small device that emitted a faint hum. "Good morning," she said. "I noticed some unusual readings from your property again. Are you certain everything is in order?" Mira smiled politely. "Yes, Karen. We follow the settlement rules carefully and all systems are functioning properly." Karen's lips pressed together. "Very well. But remember, compliance is expected. Harmony depends on it." She turned sharply and left, leaving the small drone hovering near the garden for a moment before retreating. Tariq whispered, "She's getting nervous. She knows something is happening." Mira nodded. "Exactly. That nervousness means our plan is working. She relies on fear, and fear is weakening her control." By midday, Mira and Tariq visited Rohan, the elderly neighbor who had agreed to help. He welcomed them warmly and listened as Mira explained their plan to present the evidence to the Settlement Oversight Authority. "Be careful," Rohan said. "Karen has influence and can be persuasive. But humans thrive because we act with intelligence, fairness, and patience. That's how we overcome challenges." Mira nodded. "We aren't trying to punish her personally. We want the community to be safe and fair. The rules are clear and Karen has ignored them." Rohan smiled. "Good. Remember, honesty and evidence always speak louder than fear and deception. Humans have always survived because of that." That afternoon, Mira and Tariq prepared their presentation. They compiled every piece of evidence. Drone logs showing Karen's frequent monitoring, warnings she issued to their family and other neighbors, hidden energy surges in her own property, and financial irregularities she had tried to conceal. Every detail was verified and clearly documented. "This will show the oversight authority that Karen has been abusing her power," Mira said. "We have proof of her selective enforcement, false reports, and mismanagement." Tariq added, "We also need to be ready for her reactions. She may try to deny everything or distract the authorities." Mira nodded. "Then we present the facts calmly and let the evidence speak. Humans have always succeeded when we use knowledge wisely." The following day, the oversight authority arrived at the neighborhood. The officers were tall, professional, and efficient, scanning homes and reviewing HOA records. Mira and her family approached them calmly, presenting the collected evidence. "This family has documented repeated false reports, selective enforcement of rules, and financial mismanagement by one HOA member," Mira explained. She handed over the encrypted files and guided the officers through the logs and recordings. The officers reviewed everything carefully. Their eyes widened as they compared Karen's reports with the evidence provided by Mira's family. The inconsistencies were clear. Karen had exaggerated minor deviations in other neighbors' homes, ignored her own violations, and misused community funds. "This is comprehensive," one officer said. "We will conduct a formal review immediately. Thank you for bringing this to our attention." Meanwhile, Karen was observing from a distance, unaware that her control was slipping. When she realized the oversight officers were reviewing evidence against her, her expression shifted from confidence to alarm. She quickly approached, her usual composed demeanor faltering slightly. "This is unnecessary," Karen said sharply. "These reports are exaggerated. My duties are essential for the community." One officer looked directly at her. "We will verify all actions. Evidence shows discrepancies and selective enforcement of rules is a serious concern. Please cooperate fully." Karen's lips pressed tightly together, her usual authority shaken. Mira noticed a flicker of doubt in her eyes, the first sign that Karen's control was failing. Over the next few hours, the oversight officers continued their review. Mira and Tariq watched from a safe distance, documenting the process carefully. Karen's attempts to redirect attention and argue her case were politely, but firmly countered by the officers, who relied solely on the evidence. Finally, one officer spoke to Karen directly. Your reports, actions, and financial records indicate repeated misuse of authority. Corrective action will be taken, and further violations may result in penalties. The community must be fair and compliant with settlement regulations, not personal preferences. Karen's face flushed with frustration. She had relied on fear and control. But now it was clear that intelligence, patience, and fairness had overcome her intimidation. Mira whispered to Tariq, "Humans always find a way. Knowledge and patience win where threats fail." Tariq smiled. "I never doubted it for a second." After the authorities' intervention, the neighborhood began to feel different. Small drones still monitored the streets, but there was a sense of calm instead of tension. Neighbors began to interact more freely, exchanging greetings and helping one another with tasks. Mira's family was quietly admired for their courage and intelligence. Though they remained humble, Rohan approached Mira and Tariq. "You've shown that humans thrive because of fairness and cleverness, not fear. This neighborhood will be better because of your actions." Mira smiled. "We didn't do it for recognition. We did it because it was the right thing to do. Humans have always succeeded when we act wisely and fairly." That evening, Mira's family gathered on their balcony. The twin suns had set, and the soft lights of the neighborhood reflected in the gentle energy fields. Mira felt a sense of pride and relief. Nova Haven was not just a beautiful planet. It was a place where fairness, intelligence, and courage could triumph over control and intimidation. Her father spoke softly. "You have learned an important lesson here. Humans can thrive even when faced with challenges, as long as we act with integrity, patience, and knowledge. That is what sets us apart." Mira nodded. "And we've seen it firsthand. Karen had power because she used fear, but it couldn't stand against evidence and fairness." Tariq added, "Humans will always find a way to thrive, no matter the obstacles. We just have to be clever and patient." Mira smiled, looking at the neighborhood now filled with calm and cooperation. "Yes, and Nova Haven is a place where we can show that. We'll continue to live, explore, and thrive together." As the night deepened, the family looked out at the glowing domes, feeling secure and hopeful. Karen's schemes were unraveling, and the neighborhood was finally free from unnecessary fear. Mira knew that the lessons learned here, intelligence, patience, and fairness, would guide them through any challenge on Nova Haven or beyond. The stars above shimmered in the clear night sky, a reminder that humans could always adapt, overcome, and thrive, even in the face of control and intimidation. Mira felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The neighborhood was safe, the truth was known, and humans had once again shown that cleverness, courage, and fairness were stronger than fear. Nova Haven was not just a new home. It was a place where humans could flourish together. The morning on Nova Haven was calm and clear. The twin suns rose slowly over the neighborhood, casting gentle light across the smooth domes. Mira and Tariq stepped out into their garden, feeling the cool, clean air fill their lungs. The garden glowed softly under the energy panels, now perfectly aligned and fully compliant. "Everything feels peaceful," Tariq said, glancing around. "I can't remember the last time it felt like this." Mira nodded. "It's because things are finally fair. Karen can't control everyone anymore. The truth is out, and humans have shown what cleverness and patience can do." Their parents joined them, smiling. "Today the neighborhood can begin again," their father said. "Humans thrive when they act wisely and fairly. That lesson is clear now." Meanwhile, at Karen's house, the mood was very different. She sat in her small living room, staring at the oversight report the officers had left behind. The report clearly outlined her repeated violations: selective enforcement of rules, mismanagement of funds, false reports, and attempts to intimidate neighbors. Karen's face flushed with frustration. She had tried to maintain control, relying on fear and authority, but now the system had caught up with her. She realized that her influence depended entirely on deception, and deception could not stand against evidence and fairness. A knock came at her door. Karen opened it to find 2 officers from the Settlement Oversight Authority standing patiently. "Karen," one officer said, "the review of your actions has concluded. You will be required to correct your mismanagement, repay any misused funds, and ensure future actions comply fully with settlement regulations. Further violations may result in penalties. Karen swallowed hard. She wanted to argue, to defend herself, but the evidence was clear. Her authority had crumbled because humans, intelligent, fair, and patient, had shown the truth. Back at Mira's home, Rohan visited to share his gratitude. "You and your family have done something extraordinary. Most would have been intimidated, but humans thrive when we think clearly, act wisely, and stand for fairness. You've reminded everyone of that." Mira smiled. "We didn't do it for recognition. We did it because it was the right thing to do. Humans have always succeeded when knowledge and fairness guide our actions," Tariq added. "And it shows that fear and control don't last. The truth always wins." Rohan nodded. "Yes, and now the neighborhood can heal. Cooperation, kindness, and honesty will return. That is the way humans thrive." Over the next few days, the neighborhood slowly transformed. The hovering drones no longer felt oppressive. They served only to maintain basic safety and energy efficiency. Neighbors interacted more openly, helping each other with gardens, small repairs, and sharing technology. Mira's family received polite greetings from people who had previously avoided them, impressed by their courage and intelligence. Even Karen began to adjust, now forced to follow the rules honestly. Her influence was gone, replaced by the respect and cooperation of the neighborhood. Mira realized that humans didn't need to dominate one another to thrive. Intelligence, fairness, and courage were far stronger than fear. One afternoon, Mira and Tariq decided to explore beyond their neighborhood. They rode their hoverboards along the gently rolling hills of Nova Haven, marveling at the strange, beautiful plants and soft, glowing rocks. Birds, engineered for the planet, sang quietly in the air, and small streams reflected the twin suns in sparkling light. "This planet is amazing," Mira said, leaning over the edge of a small hill. "And humans can make it even better, as long as we act wisely and fairly." Tariq nodded. "We've already seen that. Look at the neighborhood now. Cooperation and kindness are stronger than fear." Mira smiled. "It's the human way. We survive, we adapt, and we thrive. No obstacle can stop us if we use intelligence and patience." Back at home, the family gathered in the living room to review the logs and records of the past weeks. Mira's father looked around at everyone. "We've learned something important here. Power built on fear is temporary, but knowledge, fairness, and courage endure. That is what humans rely on to thrive, whether on Nova Haven or anywhere else." Mira's mother added, "And by staying calm, documenting evidence, and acting with integrity, we were able to protect ourselves and the neighborhood. That is the true strength of humans." Mira and Tariq exchanged a smile. They had faced an overbearing neighbor, exposed unfairness, and helped the community find balance again. It had been challenging, but humans had the ability to overcome challenges when they acted wisely. That evening, the family stood on their balcony, looking over the calm neighborhood. The twin suns had set, leaving the sky painted in deep purples and soft blues. Lights in the neighboring domes flickered gently, and the streets were quiet, filled with a sense of peace. "We've done something good here," Mira said softly. "Not just for us, but for everyone. Humans can make a difference even when others try to control them." Her father nodded. "Yes, Mira. We've shown that intelligence, fairness, and courage are stronger than fear. That is how humans thrive," Tariq added. "And that's how we'll continue. Wherever we go, whatever challenges we face, humans will always find a way." Mira smiled and looked at the horizon. Nova Haven was just the beginning. A new planet, new opportunities, and a neighborhood that now reflected what humans do best: cooperate, adapt, and thrive. In the following weeks, the neighborhood continued to flourish. Karen adjusted to her new honest role in the HOA, and the community slowly embraced openness and collaboration. Neighbors began organizing community projects, sharing knowledge about gardening, energy systems, and the unique environment of Nova Haven. Mira and Tariq contributed their skills, helping others optimize their gardens and improve energy efficiency. Rohan approached Mira one day, smiling. "You've reminded us all what humans are capable of. Courage, intelligence, and fairness, those are qualities that last. You've shown that even one family can inspire an entire community." Mira shook her head gently. "We didn't do it alone. Everyone has the ability to act wisely. We just helped start the process." Humans thrive when we support each other and act with integrity. The family stood together one last evening on their balcony, looking out at the neighborhood glowing softly under the twin moons that rose in the night sky. Mira felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. Nova Haven was not just a new home. It was a place where humans could demonstrate their greatest qualities: intelligence, fairness, courage, and cooperation. Whatever challenges come next, Mira said quietly, we can handle them. Humans always adapt. Humans always thrive. Her family nodded, sharing the quiet moment. The stars above shimmered, reflecting the limitless possibilities of Nova Haven. The neighborhood had been tested, and humans had triumphed. Karen's schemes were over, and fairness, cooperation, and cleverness had won. Mira felt a deep sense of pride. Humans had survived, adapted, and thrived on Earth for thousands of years. And now on Nova Haven they would continue to do so. This was only the beginning of their story on this beautiful new world. And as Mira looked at the calm streets, the softly glowing homes, and the peaceful neighbors, she knew one thing for certain: humans always find a way to thrive.